Hey, good afternoon, everybody. It is 1 o'clock on Tuesday afternoon. John Russell here with you. This is the Africa Camp live streaming right now. And unfortunately, see, if I sit here in a normal position, then you can't see the giraffes, which are pretty cool. But the reality is that they're there. Ooh, look at that giraffe fight. Never see anything like that. Well, not too often. Anyway, it is 1 o'clock on Tuesday afternoon. This is me, and I am stuck at home. I wonder what you guys are doing. Let me get my spinny little banner up here. We should have Mr. Orange Love himself, Wayne Burfeind, at any moment. He'll be popping in to see us and join us for a little bit of a chat. And there's Riak. How you doing, buddy? Good to see you, Riak. I hope you're doing well during all of this. For those of you who are out there watching, we appreciate it. Streaming on a few different places today. My own personal Facebook page, Goonies Comedy Club Facebook page, and Twitter, Twitch, and YouTube. Yeah, all of them. That's where we're going all at once. And so it is, as I mentioned, it's Tuesday. And what do I have going on today? Well, we've got the wrestling show coming up at 8 o'clock. Most of you don't care about pro wrestling, but I do a show with one of my buddies. Here he is, ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Orange Love himself, Wayne Burfeind. How are you, buddy?
I'm doing good now that I figured out technology. Yay.
It's all right, man. You're looking good.
Thanks.
Looking good. Looking good.
Thank you. Am I supposed to say that back to you?
You don't need to.
Were you
yeah. So this is they move. Yeah. So what I do is I put the Africa cam behind me, and there you can see just over my shoulder here. This shoulder, there's a giraffe head. Here, let me back this up a little bit.
Oh, I see. Oh,
there they are.
There they are. Stopping you out.
So what I can do, so what I've been doing with mine on the camera that I use, see, and then they move. There's somebody that's there, and then they go, we got to get the camera in the middle of and then it's like it's in the way. That's, I mean, I can't use this shit. Anyway, so what I do is on my camera, I've got some software that allows me to actually live stream a YouTube video as it's running in my background, which is that's kind of what I do. And there they are. I think Gert and Gil, the giraffes. So how are you holding up, friend?
Gert and Gil. Amazing. It's the most braggy thing I can do right now is that I am in quarantine isolation with my wife, who is awesome and wonderful, and we are so fortunate that she's able to work. So that's keeping her busy, and I just basically clean the house and make her meals and entertain her in between stupid meetings and stuff. And I mean, we haven't tried to kill each other yet, so we're crushing it.
That's awesome. That's awesome. And you guys get along very well too, don't you?
We just celebrated 21.
21 years?
Like 3 weeks ago. 21 years. Yeah.
Congratulations. That's awesome.
Thank you. She does all the work. It's, like I said, she's patient.
Yeah. And you guys though do a lot of things online together that I think are fantastic. Like you have the beer finds.
Correct. The beer finds,
which is
we're on Instagram and Facebook, and it's just us doing talking about beers. Like neither of us are experts at it, and I try to talk about tastes and flavors in a layman's term. And I mean, I've done some brewing and stuff, and it's a lot of work. So that's why buying good beer is the best way to make beer, I think. Just go buy it.
Well,
so
perfect. I gotta say that I love the fact that we're all oranged up because I knew you were coming, man. I'm not lying. It's like everything's orange. The only thing I didn't do is I couldn't find a TV screen background there. You're not going to get any Eisenhower jokes. They're old and they're stale, my friend. All he wants is Eisenhower jokes every time he comes.
Some people like the classics, man.
I don't remember any Eisenhower jokes because Eisenhower was the president while I was, I think, 3, 4, and 5.
Whoa.
or something like that. Or maybe he wasn't even then. Maybe he wasn't. I was born in 1961 and Kennedy was shot in 1962. So Eisenhower was the president even before I was born. That kind of gives my age away, but I'm an old bastard. One of the founding members. Yeah, go ahead.
No, I was going to say, so Eisenhower was the vice president when John got killed? Or
no, that was Lyndon Baines Johnson. Eisenhower was...
So Lyndon Baines was your first president,
yes.
Then, right?
Nixon was the vice president when Eisenhower was president. Okay. And that goes way back. It goes way back. Yeah. Tattoo joke.
What? Are we we're taking requests? Is that
here's the thing. I like to maintain support. If somebody comes in and makes a comment, I like to if it makes sense. Which clearly that one doesn't, but I like to encourage participation in this scenario. And sometimes, because my eyes aren't great, Wayne, I just see it pop up over there, and then I pop it up, and I'm like, shit.
Yeah, but then anyway. you can't multitask anymore either. You got to go back in to refocus.
It's like it's terrible.
What did that say? What did that say there? Okay. It's John Russell. Okay,
it's the worst. Gil Giraff. Anyway.
Yes.
Terrible. So you're making out fine at home. And one of the founding members of the Minneapolis Comedy Death Squad.
The Squad.
And so, refresh my memory if I'm wrong, but you, Ryan Patrick Bauer, or Patrick Ryan Bauer, I'm old. I'm like
twin brother.
Dude, yeah. I'm like his dad. I'm just like calling people up and say, hey, post a phone number on Facebook. And Chris Maddock.
Yes, correct.
That was the big three.
Yeah, and then you had the Grin Reaper. And then the Squad Father, Scott Brady.
Oh, he was the Squad Father. I didn't know that.
Oh, we did all the work. We did it all for him, for the love of Scott Brady. We did it all for him.
Yeah. Scott. So I had a road trip with Scott Brady. He and I did. Oh yeah. I saw by the look on your face. Yeah. He and I did. In this order: Rapid City, Pierre, and Cheyenne, Wyoming.
Good God!
Yeah,
and that was coming out of the cities.
It was. I lived in Rochester at the time, so this was back when I lived down there. And there's Casey. Good to see you, buddy.
Yeah, I love romantic comedies. Oh, so much. That's why Casey and I get along.
And it fits the conversation so well.
So I'm sorry. You said Grand Rapids?
Rapid City,
Iowa?
Rapid City, South Dakota. The routing was horse shit. The date was July 1st, 2nd, and 3rd.
Good God.
So it was, when we went to Pierre, it was about 106 out there. It was,
good God.
But it was back when I was stupid, and Scott's like, because Scott was going to open for some guy, and the guy's like, I'm not doing it on a holiday weekend. And then he asked me because his car, he didn't trust his car to get out there, which I'm like, how was he going to get out there otherwise? But so he says, how about if you drive? And I'm like, okay. But I had a, you remember that great big Lincoln Navigator I had?
Yes.
Yeah. So that's what we drove
out.
Bus. Yeah, exactly. The biggest, worst vehicle. I mean, the only thing worse for a comedy vehicle than that, I think, would be an actual school bus.
Yeah. Good God.
But we drove out there and oh my God, what a deal. Hi, Carol. How are you?
How many miles was it in between Pierre and Cheyenne?
Between Pierre and Cheyenne was like, I think like 4 hours.
Oh, that's not so bad.
No, it wasn't terrible. The longest was get out to Rapid City, and then we had a half a day to screw around. And he hadn't. Oh yeah, what's your favorite? Casey.
I'm going to say Abby.
Oh. Oh my gosh. So let's talk about a little bit of this. You have you done any of the virtual open mics yet?
Yeah, I just did my first one last night. Was Monday Night Comedy Show.
And how did that go for you?
It was good. I mean, I'm used to working with no laughter, so that wasn't a factor at all. But I think, the thing that really is annoying me about this is just the aesthetics of like the lags and the sound, and like people, like, I mean, I'm using, a microphone, and I know it makes it sound better. I can hear better, but there's people who have their laptops, and then they've got that across the room because they want to do a physical bit, and then they can't hear stuff, and then I don't know. Just there's a fluidity that just annoys me, and it's it's all on me. It's nobody else. Because there's people who are crushing it. There's people who are doing great. They're all being very funny, but it's just that little gnawing at my brain of how like, this is a weird sound.
The hard thing about all of this is that now a lot of people that watch this know this. I don't know if you do. I've been doing this kind of stuff with this StreamYard platform for over a year. So I'm lucky because I'm used to how it works.
Right.
But I see some people doing it, and it's like it's struggle, and they struggle with it. And but I got to tell you, it's nice because when this is all said and done, everybody's going to have a different skill. And I think that's really important. Because I just saw, I think it was Tom Chilstrom posting about, comics, what are you going to do when this is over? Are you going to quit? I think people that kind of don't do anything are going to have a hard time. But I think people that are able to still channel out and do things are going to be just fine. Because they're going to have another outlet. I've watched a lot of these virtual shows. And the reason I watch them is because for a lot of people, it's their social contact with the outside world.
Oh, absolutely.
So anyway,
I agree. And I think, and the thing too is like hearing there's people who actually are staying stagnant doing this. And that's the worst thing to do right now.
Yeah.
Like Sarah and we're doing yoga. We're doing some exercising. We were going for walks when the weather would allow. We've got another blizzard going on up in the cities, and I don't get it. But we're moving. We're moving. And we did actually, in our area, we do have parks, and it's just seeing the people who don't even care about the social distancing. Like we've been buzzed by bicycles so many times. But then there's the opposite where we're walking. We decided to walk through residential areas because there's streets, so you can cross that easier to get away from people. But there's a guy standing in his driveway, and it's kind of on the way back, and he's like, "You guys should be walking home." And we're like, "Yeah, we are walking home." And I pointed, and he was like, "There's germs out here, and I'm going to get the corona, and I should go get my shotgun." And I was like, "Keep a-walking. Nah, do not engage with this piece of shit. Let's go."
It's funny because some people go way overboard, but that's a problem is who knows what way overboard is.
Well, I mean, there's people who are showing off their stockpiles that they have in week 2.
Oh yeah,
I'm like, calm down, man.
It's so when you go, do you do the shopping or does your wife, or do you both go together?
We call it I go for supplies is what we call it.
There you go.
We don't call it shopping anymore. It's Wayne's going for supplies.
There you go.
We're doing it every other week.
Okay.
So we're making up meal plans, deciding what we need to get, and then we underestimate leftovers. And then I always forget something. And then the last time we did it, I lost the sheet on what the meals were going to be. So I'm just like, what was this bok choy for again? I don't ever buy this. What the fuck were we thinking? So I had bok choy and eggs for breakfast. And
that sounds great.
No, it was not.
No.
Bok choy has to be boiled to get the ickiness. I was not a fan. Nothing that's going to make it unchopped. I tell you what.
Oh my gosh! And that's a thing though. Have you found that when you're cooking, you combine some, like you said, but for real, have you done some of that mixing of the chopped or that where you're mixing the different ingredients?
Yes. What we just did for lunch I found a stash of fast rising yeast because my wife usually does
Yep.
where she gets a recipe and it only needs one packet, so then we just throw the rest in the cupboard. And these things are like weight. So today we had caramelized onions, pickled vegetables, and peach pizza.
Ooh.
And that was on a ranch dressing crust,
Oh
which
my gosh.
I made all that stuff. And my wife just brought it up too. She was like, "Do we have any pears?" And I was like, "We got peaches." And she was like, "Put them on there." I was like, "Okay," and it turned out great.
Oh, that's awesome. My favorite.
I mean, the only thing that's not working with this is everything's breaking on me. Like this is my second computer. This is my old computer I'm on right now. Like I got a computer in September and the fan burnt out on it.
Oh, really?
In the middle of trying to set something up. We had a pipe burst, and then I had a grater smash on me, and then I had just like things are falling apart now. It's like I can't get hardly any of my Bluetooth to connect anywhere either.
Oh, wow.
So I don't know what the hell's going on. So
wow.
Yeah, I would have been here 10 minutes earlier if I'd have even been able to get the Bluetooth to work. So that's why I'm on the wired headset instead. But
I understand.
It's just weirdest stuff, man. But I'm keeping the spirits high because what's being a pissy mood going to do for me?
Well, it'll nothing.
Yeah, right.
It's a thing, like when it snowed on Sunday, right? I'm looking out my window and I'm bitching. I'm taking video and I'm son of a bitch. God, the snow, and I'm like, I can't go anywhere anyway.
Right, exactly.
What am I going to do? But I'm still pissed. It's like,
right.
What are you doing it?
It's muscle memory because you're used to when you see the snow. It's like, oh no, I have to go driving and I have to go to work. I'm gonna be late. Like, no, you ain't going to anybody. You'll be fine.
I'm like, I'm not gonna go out and clear it off the car even. It'll melt. It'll melt by the time I get to leave.
And that was the best thing on Sunday too, or it was Friday as well. It was just like a dumping, and it was just like, oh, it's snowing, and then half hour later, it's like, oh, it's all gone. Never mind. We're fine.
Yeah,
we're alive.
We got, I don't know how much you got up at your place, but we had 7.5 inches down here, in Lakeville, home of, but it's like
home of lakes.
Home of lakes. I think there's one or two. They're not real lakes. But I didn't name the place. So
like White Bear Lake, Ham Lake.
Yeah. Well, it's like, why would you do that?
Yeah. My wife and I, we did our beer find video in Hawaiian outfits when it was snowing. So we talked about a summery, tasty cider because it's April instead of April. So we try to change it up and make it more fun. So we just did that because what are you going to do when life gives you snow? You make snow-aid.
That's right. That's right. So Wayne, do you remember the last show that you did? How long was it? Or far away was it from the actual close down?
A day, maybe two, because it was the weekend before I was at Laugh Camp in downtown St. Paul.
Oh yeah,
I was working with Matt Doima and Ramon Rivas. Second.
Nice. Yeah.
First night was when it first was like the no more than, I think it was the 250 people rule was still in effect, and I think it was that Sunday or Saturday that they said they're dropping it down to like 150 or something like that. So the Friday show was not very well attended, but they were fun. And then the second show was almost sold out, and they were a blast. So I had two very good shows, and then they were like, "All right, everything's canceled from here on." I was like, "Ah, damn it."
Well, it's awesome that you had a good show, though.
Oh, lucked out. Really did luck out. So,
yeah.
And then it was local and good to have to meet people, sold merch, good times.
Nice. And Laugh Camp was a fun spot. And is a fun spot. I say everything like it's all post-mortem, But when I did that with John DeBoer in December, and my voice was, I got really sick. So I'm thinking, did I have this before it was in vogue?
Oh, before it was a thing?
Yeah, because I didn't feel bad, but I completely lost my voice. And I didn't get it back for like a month and a half.
Whoa.
Yeah. So at Laugh Camp, I mean, I'm just like, I'm drinking hot water and tea and all of that stuff. And I told them ahead of time, I got to apologize. This is all I can do, And it was like this, and I couldn't do anything. And imagine, I mean, it was just
You shall not pass.
It was, oh my God, it was the worst. And I felt so bad about doing it, but oh gosh, here we go. I'm catching. Cooking, washing up is a chore. Yes,
it is. That's a award-winning author, Flora Delaney. If you want to learn about business, go find her book.
Very nice. Thank you for tuning in. There's Daniel from Bemidji.
That's my cousin.
Oh, nice.
He's amazing, wonderful, awesome human being.
There's my
no way, who my kids.
Joke about pizza. All right. Blind man walks into a bar and then a post and then a table. That's my brother. He's doesn't ever do any comedian.
Isn't it weird who gets the humor in the family and who doesn't?
Yeah. He's a way better businessman than I am. And probably, if I'm honest, a better person. But what am I going to do? I can't fix that. Oh my gosh.
It's too late. You're chiseled out. You're who you are.
I've screwed things up enough. So, hey, they should just move the camera. Oh, they're just getting a wide shot of the giraffes. So you've been doing comedy for how long, Wayne?
This August is going to be 20 years.
Holy cow.
Yeah.
Did you ever think you would have this much fun doing it?
I really thought I was going to have way more fun, but
it's a lot of work, isn't it?
Oh, Jesus. I have to call people. I have to drive places. They don't just mail me checks. Ugh.
I know. It's unbelievable.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, and it's a different trip for everybody too. I mean, because there's some people who get into the business and they have friends who like take them with and drag them along. And when I started out, I was more for just the experience, just a hobby type of thing. When I first started out for the first few years. And then people wanted me to start working with them and start paying me to do stuff. And I was like, I think I want to do this. And then I got laid off from my corporate job and I high-fived everybody on the way out because it was the best thing that's ever happened. Because corporate life sucks. I don't know if you guys know that. It's just, hey, let's have a meeting to talk about when we're going to have our next meeting. Like, you can email all this shit. What is happening? And this is back in the day before cell phones were a big thing. So you had to talk to people and face to face. How gross is that?
Terrible. By the way, look away.
No eye contact.
So one of the most difficult things, and like you said, some people have friends that'll take them along. You're the crocheter of comedy. That's awesome.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
I love it.
Yeah, come on to my my pop-up. It's at a brewery, and I'll sell you some jokes. Not all of them fit, just so you know that.
I prefer to have, as my mother or my grandmother used to say, please make me an Afghan, Wayne.
Jesus.
I could use an Afghan for the divan.
Ooh, first I got to learn how to even start that.
I don't even know if it's English. Hi, Kyle. How you doing, buddy? Good to see you. Thanks for tuning in. You just click the button. That's not tuning. I don't know. It's old stuff. So one of the things, though, that I find very interesting about comedy, and you've seen this because you've been around the Minneapolis comedy scene forever. Some people who are naturally funny suck at business, suck at the business side of it. And some people that are not that funny are exceptionally good at the business side of it. And most of us kind of fall somewhere in between there. But it's just amazing to me. I knew a kid who went out and got himself booked with a booking agent and then hadn't even done a show for him.
Oh, really?
And then went out and got booked more simply on the fact that he was booked by him. And, and by the time he got about 3 months in, had burned it all down and couldn't get booked again.
Oh, which sucked up so many shows that they were like, don't ever send that guy back.
Yeah, because he was not ready. Now, I'm not saying that that's the way it is for everybody, and everybody has their own path in this deal, I think. Yeah. But
it's common. It's very common. I mean, how many headliners have you watched to be like, how is this person doing an extended feature set headlining?
Plenty.
because they're setting up their book. They're trying to get gigs while you're on stage. Like they're always in the hustle. They're always moving. They know how to talk to people. And I mean, there's people who do that are phenomenal because that's what you have to do to work. You got to hustle, but it's the folks that aren't afraid to lie, cheat, steal, undercut. Those are the ones you want to push downstairs.
Yep. And having said that, you've been a pretty good supporter of younger comics.
Oh yeah.
You have done a lot of things, and I don't always get to see it because I'm not necessarily as plugged in as I used to because I'm an old bastard. Nobody likes me around. But you and Kate Denson, I can't remember, but it doesn't make any difference. You guys had a cool contest down at the Poorhouse.
Oh yeah,
that I remember that really involved just about everybody in the comedy scene.
Oh yeah. It was around Easter, so that was 6 years ago.
Yeah,
6 years ago, and that was like 90% Kate because she worked at the Poorhouse or had worked at the Poorhouse, and it's a sexy location.
Yeah,
it's just too bad it's in downtown. So they're paying a ton for rent and all that stuff, but it was a gorgeous location. They wanted to put up the money for the contest, but they wanted it to last like longer than what usual contests do. So we were just like, we need to get everybody going, and then this is also, I mean, there was a lot of Rochester kids, and even the Fargo kids came down, a couple of Duluth, some Wisconsinites, but just how many people showed up out of the woodwork just to have the opportunity to do that. And it was a lot of fun just to see people and be introduced and seeing all these new styles and stuff. And so that's the fun part of putting on a contest. And that's the only fun thing about a contest, because you have so many people booked for a show and, oh, hey, I just decided I don't want to show up because I don't want to pay for parking. Or they make up an excuse on why they don't want to show up, or they do show up and then I want to go up first because I just paid for parking and I don't want to pay extra and blah, blah, blah. But it was a really good experience. Got to meet a lot of fantastic people, and it was just a good experience just to run that. And I don't ever want to run one again.
Well, I won't ask you to.
Thank you.
Here's good old Andy Fisher was watching it last night on the Monday Night Comedy Show.
Oh, yeah. No, it was just before we were going to get cut off because Andy was trying to multitask, and I was up early and I thought I had some more time. So I was going to offer to do my impression of me at an orgy, but I'm only allowed to do that after 10 o'clock. So
really?
Can't do it at this daytime. Sorry.
Oh man, Andy, that sucks.
But Andy, next time I see you doing comedy, I'll do it for you, buddy. I promise. It's way better in person. It involves a sandwich.
Oh my. Oh my.
Yeah.
I can. You know what? I can't wait to see you now.
I wouldn't doubt if you had seen it, because it's just a little side stupid joke that I love. But you know those jokes. Like I like it. Fuck you guys. That was for me. You know.
So, Wayne, in 20 years of comedy, you've probably had many highs and lows.
Okay.
One of the things I like to ask people about is, please tell me about one or two of your favorite hell gigs that are actually fun to think about now.
No, those are the worst, always and forever. Flora was, she hired me to do a roast on her husband on a boat on the Minnetonka Lake area. And all I knew was my wife, Flora, and her sons, but then there was a bunch of her husband's guests and stuff like there, and I was just like, oh yeah, I can roast him. But then it turned up being like she was like, well, you can do about 20 minutes maybe, it'd be fun. I was like, oh, I did not plan that. I did not plan this at all. Oh shit. So I did maybe 3 minutes of ripping on the husband a little bit, and then I just went into my regular act, and Flora was laughing, my wife was laughing, her kids are giggling because they see him bombing horribly. And then I'm stuck on a boat with people who hated me for 15 minutes. And I was just like, I'm just going to be on the other end of the boat right now. So that was, I wouldn't say a hell gig, but it was one that came to mind. One of my very first gigs I did for a friend was in their garage during one of her kids' birthdays, because they were about ready to move out of state anyway. And I didn't get to see her much as an old, like a sister friend. And so she was like, hey, just do comedy on this karaoke machine in our garage to people who do not know this is about to happen. And I was just like, yeah, sure, why not? Let's do it. And then as the kids are racing around the tables that they had to actually put out, I was like, yep, I've made it. Yeah, I got kids. Kids are pushing each other out of the way just to get out of this room. I'm crushing it.
Oh my God.
But I mean, it's hell gig. I mean, as long as I get paid, it's not a hell gig. You know what I mean? Because there's shows where like 12 people show up and I'm like, oh fuck, they're gonna cancel. It's gonna be a piece of shit. But it's the 12 greatest audience members on the planet. And then another hell gig. Well, here's one. I'll call this one a hell gig because I performed for 900 people in an auditorium in Eau Claire. And it was just basically the hotel gave away tickets and they had seats. They were just seats. There was no tables. It was all seats, all facing the stage. And there was a huge gap in between each row because they just had people running up and down selling beverages because that's the only way they were making money. So, but when I get there, there's like 900 people there. And I'm like, wait, how much money am I getting paid for this goddamn gig? So that annoyed me first when I was like, God, so there's 900 people here and I'm getting paid $100? Okay, that's stupid. And they were like, you get 50% off of alcohol, which was another stupid thing. That's just going to make me want to, not drink and give them my money. Yeah. But the other thing too, like you would talk to somebody about doing it in auditoriums and how it's just a different beast because you tell a joke in a small room, you tell a joke, you get an immediate response. In a large room, it's a wave effect that's happening. I tell the joke, and I have to wait for the back of the room to come back at me. I mean, that's the best way to describe it. But I didn't figure that out till like the last 5 minutes. So I'm like, wait a minute, are they interrupting me? Because I'm telling joke, are they laughing at me? Or what's like my brain couldn't process because the usual timing of the joke and the response back was just kind of very like an online interview. Like the delay is just enough where you're like, wait, was that for me? What's happening?
Throw you off.
Yeah, just enough to go, wait, what the fuck's just happening?
Yeah, I did that same gig that you're talking about with Jamie Blanchard, and it was, there's nothing worse than having a great big huge room full of people and have it just be shitty. And that's happened to me, a couple of times.
Yeah, I'd rather bomb in front of 20 people than 200 people.
Yeah.
Because that's more real. Like 20 people, I can go, they just weren't into it. They were something else. But when 200 people don't get into it, it's like, what is happening?
Yeah, terrible. All right, well, obviously, 20 years, some of them you've forgotten about too.
Oh, just brush them off. Take them as learning lessons. And again, as long as I get paid, I've never had a car break down. I've never had to fight somebody for payment or anything like that. So I mean, and there's people out there who had it way worse.
Oh yeah.
I mean, probably the biggest hell gig ever was driving out to Dickinson, North Dakota. With Dwight York.
Oh, gosh.
And I love the man, but that guy didn't talk for maybe a half an hour both ways. Like he had a story for everything. And just the whole time was just, can I turn on the radio instead? Because I think you're talking about the same person again. And then we got out there and it was like famed. You go out to Dickinson, it's going to be sold out because they're bored. Bring all the merch you can to sell because they're going to buy everything. But it was like a Valentine's Day snowstorm. Oh. So we had like 15 people show up to the place that usually sells out to 150 people. But they didn't lie. Everybody bought merch. Just like, all right, I guess.
So was that in the little bar at the Ramcoda?
That sounds right. I know it was tiny. Stefano, was he the one that put it on? Does that sound right?
Stefano was the one up in Dickinson.
Dickinson, yeah.
Williston.
Oh, that's what I'm thinking. Williston is farther, isn't it?
Yeah, Williston's another hour and a half north from Dickinson. Dickinson was the one that you had to do Dickinson if you wanted to do lacrosse for Doug and Dana.
What?
Yeah.
Gross.
Yeah. So and I ended up doing that with Wild Bill.
Oh.
And you had a little 4x4 about 2-inch high platform that you stood on. The live blackjack table was about 10 feet away, and they don't stop that. They're not going to stop that because it's gambling. Yeah. And it's just full of rowdy, sweaty oil workers and
methed out.
And oh my gosh, yeah.
Yeah. No, then it was Williston. That's the one I'm thinking of. Williston.
Yeah. Williston was that the one that was down like the downstairs of the bar?
Yeah. Because it almost felt like a tiny auditorium because there was a second tier of seating. Yeah. But just because of the storm going on, we just didn't have to worry about talking to those people. But I mean, I think I did 15 minutes and I think Dwight did a half an hour and Stefano the whole time was like, there's hardly anybody here. Don't worry about it. You're going to get paid.
Yeah.
And then that was also the same place where people were like, hey, when you're done, just go to the hotel and don't hang out because people will rob you and beat you up and stuff. But we hung out and we had a blast. And that was one of the nicest hotels. It was like a mansion they put us in that they converted into like a bed and breakfast. And I was just like, what in the F is happening? This goofy ass town has this gorgeous building. What is happening?
Yep. I did that one with Dave Johnson. And And I did that, but then I came back again. So I did that one twice.
Oh, wow.
And one of them was
hi, Jonna.
Her family might have been there.
Oh, yeah.
But one of them was at the Vegas hotel, which was across the street. That was like, there was blood everywhere.
Yeah.
It was like, but the place, yeah, it was. Oh my God, that was awesome.
Yeah. Yeah. So you put in your 40 hours just to do 2 shows at Dickinson.
Yeah. Yeah.
And seriously, this is going 85, 90 miles an hour, and it's still 10 hours away from the cities.
Yeah. The first time I did it with Shannon, I had Shannon Thompson. Yeah, I had sciatica, and I had just literally the day, because I didn't know if I was going to be able to make it or not. I literally had taken morphine shot in my hip, and they said, "Oh, you shouldn't be driving." I said, "Well, I'm not going to drive." I had to drive and get over this. Oh my God, it was the worst. I mean, and I'm like, I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna stand up here. Shannon had a show set up in, what was it, Corona, South Dakota, or maybe it wasn't, but some little tiny small town bar. And
that sounds right. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, you could just make up anything. I mean, it could be Teabag, South Dakota. I don't know. But there were literally 6 people and a dog. And I'm like, and I'm like, they got it all set up with a mic. And I said, look, you guys, I got sciatica. I am in so much pain. Can I just sit at your table and tell you my jokes? And they were like, fine. And then it's like, I don't know if Shannon was mad at me because he's like, well, I'm going to do it. He got stood up with the microphone and did the whole thing. But oh my God, it was the worst. And
I bet.
I worked for Shannon and Tommy for almost 3 years, I think, or maybe a little bit longer. And at the time I thought, oh my God, Shannon, because on the way back, I didn't say 3 words. I was in so much pain. And I just am like, Shannon just must think I'm a piece of crap. Because it's a long time.
I think Shannon enjoyed it because he is the less of the chatty.
Well, that's true.
Yeah. To talk about guys that hustle. I mean, those two, good God, they take any work they could, and they have always been super funny. So that works out. But I mean, they're a good example of, they know everybody in the business. They hustle, get it done.
Yeah. All right. So we talked about hell gigs. Let's talk about some of your favorite gigs over your career so far.
Oh, God. I think the first Death Squad major show we did with Doug Stanhope was probably a huge, huge plus. Doug Stanhope was performing at the Varsity, and he just wanted openers. And I don't know if you know Doug. He loves silly, goofy. Like he's some of his best friends are the Unbookables, and if you watch them and their stuff, you're like, they're very unique voiced. How about that? Is that the best way to put it? But they're funny. So we did sketches, and we did fun. Like we were getting booed because they just wanted Doug. I mean, I think that was the real good example of just like, you know what? Some people are just there to see who they want to see, and it's not your fault. So just do the best you can. And, we had a lot of friends show up, and they loved it. We videotaped the whole thing. And Doug told our videographer, like straight up, like, don't record anything I'm doing because I'm doing a bunch of new stuff. So we did the show, and then Chris introduces Doug. Doug gets on the stage and, hey, give it up for the Minneapolis Comedy Death Squad. If you booed the Minneapolis Comedy Death Squad, you can go fuck yourself. And of course, that's not on video. I'm like, that is the best goddamn clip we could have put on any site anywhere. But no, we turned off the video as soon as Chris said, Doug Stanhope, click. And I was like, oh man, 30 seconds. That's all we needed. That would have been the best. But just hanging out, just a great guy. I know he's got a great mind. A lot of people are offended by a lot of stuff he says, but he's very kind. He's paying attention the whole time. And he thanked us profusely. He paid us. We didn't even expect to get paid. He was just like, here, this is what I can afford. And we're just like, that's already more than we were expecting. We get to put you on a credit, and we
Absolutely.
got booed for doing what we love. So fuck you.
Yeah.
And then working with Louis Anderson has always
Oh,
been
yeah.
great. Just, man, there's just those butter shows where every word that comes out, like one of my last shows too was at Goonies.
Yeah.
And that Saturday show, like I cut out maybe almost 10 minutes because the crowd was so into it, and I was able to riff with the crowd, and I could do no wrong. And that was, of course, early show Saturday, because late show Saturday at Goonies is my least favorite show ever.
Mm-hmm.
Period. Every show, Goonies second show, because it wasn't packed, but it was a really good sized room, and I was like, all right, this will be good. I'm on cloud 9, let's do it. And I could have handed them money and they would not have laughed at me, and I was like, what the hip in hell is happening? But that's the biz.
It is. It's isn't it beautiful how you can do great one night and just get your head handed to you the next night?
45 minutes earlier, I'm crushing, and now when are you getting off the stage? Like they weren't even there. The headliner was nobody special. They were just out having fun, and it's just like the headliner was even like, "What the hell is happening?"
Yeah.
So it's just
unbelievable. That's one of my favorite things is the first time I ever got to see Kevin Bozeman.
Oh yeah.
And there was just an insane, wild, ridiculous Saturday late show at Goonies.
Okay.
And he's going in to sell his merch, and I think he kind of maybe started doing this, or maybe he did it before, but it's the first time I had seen it. And he's like, "You guys are terrible. I have a CD to sell, but I'm not going to sell it to you guys." And I think he probably sold way more than anybody. Like, "I'm not selling it to you guys. You guys are, he had people standing up, and it was somebody's birthday, and some guy just started singing "Happy Birthday" in the middle of his set. And he's like, what the hell's going on? And then he had some woman that started kind of not really heckling, but kind of talking to him. How that, it's not like, it's not that, you suck, I'm going to get you. It's like, I'm interested in you. And then she says, "Are you a rapper?" And I'm like, and he's just like, what?
While he's on stage?
Yes. And it's just like, what in the hell's going on? And it was unbelievable to me.
Rural-ish Minnesota still.
Yeah, it was unbelievable. One of the most insane things. Bourbon.
Yeah, so good. Yeah, man, it's so insane. Because how many, like I just said, like I've had shows with just 12 people, and it's one of my favorites, and then 900, one of the worst.
Yeah.
It's just weird. Because I know Dublin's is one place I love to go. I always have decent shows there because they know how to control the crowd. And man, if Goonies just got rid of that second show Saturday, man, that would be the best room on the planet to me.
Yeah, yeah. Well, during the summer, they just do the one.
Yeah,
do one show, one or two. I don't know.
Yeah, it depends. Yeah,
it's to be honest, and we're broadcasting on Goonies page, so Mark knows that I'm doing this. It's one of the
great. Mark is like the only Booker club owner that will text or call and thank someone for working, which is, I'm like, what did I do wrong?
The thing about it is,
thank you for working my club.
yeah. The thing about it is, he actually just loves comedy and comedians so much, and he's just
great guy.
He the biggest problem for him is now that at that new location, for those late. So here's the thing: like the late shows, now they don't get any, drunken walk up from the bars.
Right.
So it's good and it's bad.
Mm-hmm.
But it's because it's so far away from the bars. It's like, but it's one of those things that it's hard in Rochester. Because one of the big complaints that he had when he was downtown
which was the most amazing location.
It really was. It was so cool and hip for that city.
Yeah.
But one of the things was, well, there's no place to park. There's 2 ramps a block and a half away.
Right.
I mean, and now at this new place, it's been there 2 years now. At the Crooked Pint, there's plenty of parking, and people still don't come.
Well, it's not labeled well. Like the first time I went there, I seriously was like, am I in the right place? Because I'm outside, I can't tell. Then I walk up and that's where the signage is.
Yeah.
You have to go inside, and there it is.
Yeah.
And he's got it set up to kind of aesthetically look like the old place, but it's smaller.
Yeah.
But I mean, he knows how to train a crowd. He's one of those guys that work. I mean, you can tell there's regulars because the first time I went there was in a snowstorm, and some people showed up, and then the next couple times I show up, there was a snowstorm, of course, because that's when I get to work. But double the people, triple the people. It is working, but it's that slow grind, and Mark's got to cover the red. And I mean, I hope he's making money on the whole thing because he's one of those club owners you do want to work for, an actual fan of the company.
Absolutely. So aside from that, I'm just wondering now. We've got people that are watching, and I'm just trying to see where they're. Does anyone that's watching have any questions for the one and only Wayne Burfeind? Now that we've got him here, because
no
you don't
joke
get
requests.
We're not doing jokes. I mean, the only thing I think about in doing this is not. Let me ask you. So one of the other things that you do is you host trivia, right?
Trivia and bingo,
yeah.
It's a nice side hustle.
Definitely. Have you given any thought to maybe trying to do any of that online?
Well, that's what I was working on when my computer crashed on me. Like I mentioned earlier, and I was just like, I'm working on it, and I just hear this grinding, and I was like, what the hell is that? And then, wow, my computer just shut down because it's too hot. Oh, my fan went out. There's a ton of people doing stuff like that, and I was trying to figure out Zoom was the one I was going to use because you can get like 100 some people on there, and I was trying to plan it out, and then I mean, I'm in contact with very few people that I do trivia with, and they are. Well,
you have regulars too doing that, right?
And it's a few of them that are asking if I'm going to do it, and I'm like, it's all over, it's everywhere. I mean, even people do bingo, or like, are you going to do virtual bingo? It's like, how do you even do that?
Yeah.
How do you? I mean, do you want me just to sit here and just make jokes? Because I had unique, like Carly McMiniman and I came up with a bunch of fun like nicknames for the numbers.
Yeah.
So it's called Dirty Nerdy Bargo. It's Bargo because it's free. And we spelt dirty and nerdy. We just transposed the D and the N because they sound alike, but just switched the words. And then Carly started working a real job. So she was always tired and stuff. So I just basically run it myself. And she could get away with a lot of the dirty jokes that I can't get away with. Because B10 was domestic violence isn't fun for anyone that's B10. And I can't do that. I cannot. I will not.
It's still funny.
No, I came up with it. Of course, it's funny.
Oh my god!
Were I ever late for a job, like a comedy gig late, or job in general? Because yes,
regular jobs always late.
Yeah. No, I mean I've come in on the wire. Very few. That's one of my anxieties is being late. My anxiety is showing up too early and being late. So that's a really great.
It's a fine line.
Very fine line. Like, I got to get there early, but not too early.
Yeah.
And so it's very rare that I am late. I mean, I've driven 10 hours, 9 hours to show up on time because I'm in my mind. I'm like, I got to get there because I love to take a nap just before a gig because that's when my brain chemistry is working best. So that's what I always factor in. Like, I have to be there at this time because then I can get my nap in. And that usually has saved me a couple of times. But yeah, no, I'm very punctual. It's one of my strongest points.
That was a fine question. Carolyn is from Kenosha.
Oh,
just to let you know, I met her doing a show with Don Reese.
Love Don.
Yeah, Don is awesome, and I've been trying to get Don to come on, and I don't know what Don's situation is down in Sioux City right now. But he is one of my favorite human beings.
Oh God, yeah.
Of all time, and.
Yeah.
He's
just a fun, goofy dude. I love his energy. He's just a fun, silly dude, and he just loves the up and coming comic. Like we chatted for about maybe 45 minutes to an hour, and he's just like, "Here's what I like about you. Here's what I like about this guy. Here's what he still has a passion for the business."
Oh, he absolutely does. And I'm trying to think. The last time I worked with him was, I think, a New Year's Eve gig.
Oh, nice.
in Yankton, South Dakota.
Yankton,
damn near killed him. No, I don't. I don't think that's how it goes. But that was a very strange New Year's show. New Year's shows are just like, I mean, it's just like the ATM is open for comics. right?
Seriously, and the thing is, I think some of my worst shows have been New Year's Eve shows because I swear to God, there was probably 6 years in a row where there was a blizzard. I mean, it took me 3 hours to get down to Mankato one year for a New Year's gig, and just the weather. And there's years I just don't do it. I'm just rather stay home. And then the last New Year's gig I did was in Sauk Rapids at the Benton Station.
Oh yeah.
Mike Merrifield.
Oh yeah.
And so everything, it's just like, that's a great room. They got it together, and we got there, and you would have thought we interrupted their potluck or some shit. They really acted like they did not want us to be there. And Mike was just like, "What the fuck is happening? It's New Year's. Come."
Unbelievable.
And then what it also turned out is while the show's going on, my mic is cutting out, but I can't tell. Because so Benton Station, they do a comedy show, and then immediately afterwards, there's a band.
Yep.
And they've got it down where they open the windows and they pull out the stage, and then stuff is already set up. So it should have amazing sound system stuff. But my mic was cutting out, but I couldn't tell because I didn't have a monitor. It was all behind me, blowing people out. And then Mike got up on stage. He apologized for the microphone, waited for a new one, and then he replugged all of my merch, told 2 jokes of mine that he liked, that he didn't think got the laughs it deserved. And then at the end of the show, he like hustled my merch. And I was like,
which is awesome.
Yeah, and here's just to give you guys an idea. It's backwards, but this is my my Minnesota Nice.
It is.
And right now my wife says this is our Minnesota social distancing. So go out in public, just put on this hat, and you're good to go. And I actually got new ones too. Yeah.
Do you have? Can people get that? Do you have a website they can get it on?
Just email me. I'm still working on the Wayne B at Gmail if you're interested, or on Facebook. I got to figure out what shipping and handling is for you, but I usually sell them for $20. And I also have stickers that you can put on cars or notebooks and stuff like that. I'll throw stuff in there if you're interested in it. $20, and then I'll figure out what shipping is, and I'll tell you that, and then you can mail me a check.
Sounds like a good idea.
I tried setting up Venmo.
Oh yeah,
but my bank wanted to know my one of my secret questions was my wedding anniversary, which I know. And I punch it in, it didn't work. And I was like, okay, well, let me try this format instead. Let me try this format. Let me try this format. You are locked down. Like, oh, son of a bitch. So I sent them an email, like, what is the format you want? So I can't get on Venmo because the security is too good. I don't know. I just was like, God damn it.
I understand it.
So
Carol asked you how about me being late? No, I am sort of like Wayne. Well, we didn't like meet on it, Charlie, but we we had just assumed that this was going to be an orange show since it's Orange Love. I mean, what kind of an idiot would I be to not wear the proper orange shirt?
Orange, you glad you wore that?
I sure am, and aren't you? Yeah, I mean, knock knock.
You guys want jokes? You get jokes.
Oh my gosh, Carol! No, I never been late. And I get freaked out about being late for anything, so I'm usually there way early. And in fact, I'm like you, Wayne. I'm like, I don't want to go in too early.
Yeah, right.
So I'll like park in the parking lot and take a nap.
Yeah, I'm like, you got to figure out just enough traffic, foot traffic, to not be the creepy dude.
Yep.
I can't lay down completely because that's even creepier.
Yeah.
And then just get out and walk around and stuff like that. Yeah. It's stupid brain.
One of the last shows I did was with Chris Schlichting in Parade of Shame, Wisconsin, and I got there and I'm like, good. They were having a buffet before. It was at the golf course down there, so they're having a buffet, and I'm like, oh, you can get something to eat if you want to. I'm like, first of all, no, because I don't like to eat in front of people.
Secondly, it's embarrassing. It's when you don't even use utensils. You just
I know, because I mean I'm used to shoveling it in there. But then the other thing is, I'm not lying about this. Just about every time I've eaten before a comedy show, I get crap on myself, and I'm like, I can't do it. And then I got to make up some stuff. It was like, I don't want to eat because I was like, we're offering you a fine meal. And I know it's a fine meal, but I don't want it on me. So I'm advertising your stuff when I go on stage. So,
I mean, you're lucky that's the only crap that you have an issue with. When I eat before I get on stage, I got a timer, a fuse burning. Like, okay, I have to get off stage at this time so I can explode out my butt. And
Oh yeah.
Danny has a great question. That's my cousin up in Bemidji.
Oh.
John and several other folks, when the Rochester area would come up and do comedy in Minneapolis, St. Paul, and even Coon Rapids area, and they were known as the Short Bus because they were driving John's gargantuan truck. But a great group of kids. They were always fun. Always they stood out because they just were great, sociable, funny, good kids. And how long ago was that, John? Do you think that the Short Bus?
We started towards the end of 2007. So
okay. Yeah.
Whatever that's math.
So about 12-ish years we've known.
Yeah, about 12 years. Here's the interesting part about it. Like the whole Rochester Comedy Short Bus, I had zero input into that.
Oh, really? The name of it, or the driving up?
The name of it. The name of it.
Yeah,
the idea was that Tovar and I were. Mm-hmm. I mean, we kind of started, and Ryan Schmidt was kind of along, and our whole deal is we want to go and do more open mics. Yeah. But then we also thought, well, let's get some other people to like chip in gas money. So I mean, to be honest, we were like, we didn't really care, but it was Tovar and I were being very selfish, if I'm honest, and. So Ryan Schmidt, if you recall, who was kind of
the Dane Cook
impersonator at the time, with this tiger tooth or claw or whatever the hell. Anyway, he had some kind of a drunken conference with Daryl Horner. And
sounds accurate.
Next thing I know, he comes up to me and Tovar and says, "Hey, we're going to be called the Rochester Short Bus," because it's like, and I'm like, I didn't have any. I'm not going to be called the Rochester. I mean, and so there was this whole thing, and all of a sudden, I'm in this group that I didn't even know I was in.
All right, John, what do you think a better name would be for? Is Tovar on? Because he'd have good input too.
No, Steven is. I don't. If Steven's watching, he can pop in there.
Yeah.
I don't know if there was a. I mean, I don't know. I just was like, I just felt like that's not the right name. I mean, it sounds like here comes some dopey farmers up from the country in their little short bus, and they're going to tell some knockety-knock jokes, and then they'll be beloved.
Y'all ready to get your funny bone harvest? Because we're going to bail them up there in the combine from the short bus.
Hey, Mr. Douglas, I got a joke to tell you. It's like what the hell? But I mean, I don't know. I mean, I don't know if there would have been something better or not. I mean, and obviously, if
how about the guys from Rochester? Can we go with that name? The folks who drove here from Rochester. We'll take
how
that
about
name.
Or even our own names would be nice. You know,
hey, look, guys, it's John, Steve, Brian, Danielle.
So give it up, give it up. And that was the thing too, because Daryl would introduce us as from the Rochester Comedy Short Bus, and I'm like, don't do that. Don't do that.
Well, that's setting the precedence right there. They go like, oh, he's so articulate. Oh, look at him doing. He's not wearing his helmet today.
I mean, good God, he's got all of his teeth.
How many people would come up to you, pat you on the shoulder, and be like, "Good job, buddy."
Oh my gosh, it's fun talking about all the. I mean, and honestly, when looking in hindsight, I remember I was literally pissed about it.
Oh,
but
really?
now, I mean, it's like, but like now, it's like, God, that's the dumbest thing to be worked up.
Yeah, it could have been worse. Could have been like, we got these assholes who showed up.
Yeah. Or how about the instead of the short bus, how about we call him the shit bus?
There's that too.
That's like that wouldn't have been good.
The handicab showed up.
Oh my gosh, the handicab.
Oh God!
Even
stop
worse.
It. They're getting worse. They're getting worse.
People are tuning out as we speak. Oh my gosh. Well, Wayne, I tell you, we're up on an hour here.
Damn.
And my God, I'll tell you, man, it's so much fun for me to do this with people that I haven't seen in a while, like you.
Yeah.
And to get to see how things are going. I really appreciate you coming on and talking with me. It was a lot of fun for me. And hopefully people that watched enjoyed it as well.
Yeah.
and please look up Wayne on his. Have you ever done voiceover for cartoons? Yes, Carol, I actually have. There's Andy Brynildson. Hi, Andy. Good to see you, buddy.
I am terrible at voiceover. You can ask Flora Delaney. I tried, and it just no. I did a voiceover.
I did a voiceover for a cartoon that I was actually doing some subcontracting with an animation company out of India when I was still in radio.
Oh, sure.
And it was a gigantic pain in the butt because of the time difference. But I would get done working my shift, and then I'd come home, and then I'd be like, and then they were so demanding. It's like, so it'd be like, okay, we want you to read this. Fellow is happy. All right, I'm happy. Well, we need it happier. What the hell? It's like it's everything.
Fuck you! I'm happy.
I'm happy. I mean, there's I don't know if you've ever seen the oh my gosh, it's called The Toast of London on Netflix or something. So it's I don't know if you've ever seen the IT Crowd, that show.
Yeah.
It's Matt Berry. That does this Toast of London, and he's an actor, and they've got this whole bit in there where all he has to do is say no, and they're like, try it again, no, try it again, no more emotion. I mean, it's the same thing. But anyway, that's how they work, and I'm just like, you got to be kidding me. But the one that I did with them that got just an insane amount of views was, and I've got it somewhere, and I'll put it up. I was George W. Bush singing a song about oil, and it was to the tune of "Can't Take My Eyes Off of You."
Okay.
And I know you can't get it. I didn't. All I did was sing it. I didn't write the lyrics. The lyrics are chunky. But the animation is kind of cool. Mm-hmm. I'll tell you. I mean, I'll find it and I'll play it. I can't play it right now because I don't know where it is. But I've got it somewhere, and it had millions of views. Because all you have to do is open your mouth in India, and
and that was the Indian production company did that.
Indian production people put the whole thing together.
Okay,
I think there was, if I remember correctly, there was some comic that wrote the lyrics. Okay. Because I looked it up after the fact, but I didn't know at the time. I didn't know anything about comedy at the time I did it. But
no, I remember when you were first showing up, you were doing people's outgoing messages as different celebrities.
Oh yeah.
And I remember that was just a whole. And which one did you get? And which one did you like? Corey's Billy Mays.
Yeah, I think Corey still uses the dumb one.
You are correct, because it's just that's how good it is. I mean,
and Corey Mays is
10, 13-year-olds.
Billy Mays has been dead 10 years.
So good.
Anyway,
well, he did it again. All right,
Wayne. Fantastic to have you with me, and I really do appreciate it so much.
No worries, man. It's great to see you. I'm glad you're doing well. We're going to get through this bull crap. I don't know when, but we'll be fine. But I like your show a lot. Been watching people I've never even heard of and enjoying it. So thanks so much for having me on there, and thanks everybody for sticking around and checking it out. And I hope to see you guys around. Stay safe. All right.
Awesome. We appreciate it very, very much. And folks, if you happen on Facebook to see an open mic, acoustic music, any kind of online anything, please stop, give it a like, give it a watch, make all the creative folks feel like they're making a difference or that they belong, because that's all that's what we all want. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, have a good one. Tomorrow Dan Bublitz Jr. is on with me.
Yay.
And we will talk with Dan. Folks, take care, and we will see you soon.
Bye.